Hello everybody and welcome to another long overdue uh, raid review film video. This one is going to be from the role that I've been playing the most recently. That would be Warden Finisher. We all know what this role is supposed to be about. It's pretty well stated there in the title. It's it's a Warden DD, but spec'd to get KBs. Has Vicious Death rather than Plague Break, so that when you get those kills, you can start the Vicious Death chain reaction and blow up bigger groups quickly, or give you that extra kind of firepower that you need to, get multiple kills on other good groups. So that's what this one's about. I'll say this is not like my best raid on the roll. But I figure that could actually provide maybe better analysis or better opportunities for analysis. So because I can like point out what I'm kind of messing up or not capitalizing on certain situations. So anyway, let me set the scene. This is at the Row Farm, which is a classic battle site. We pulled up at the keep, and the Imperium, big Zerg group is coming down the stairs, and in about 5 minutes they'll be joined by the Shogunate as well. So that's what's going on here.
West.
Gulag? Gulag?
Mm-hmm.
He's like Gandalf the Puce at this point.
Talking about Chuki.
Front
Anyway,
door.
so this is like a set piece bomb opportunity. So like the canonical Warden DD combo, right, is your Shulks into proxy, then you time that to go off with, your Destro or your DB, synergies, that type of thing. So basically when you cast, or when Stratus calls for proxies, actually let me back up even more. You as the DD kind of have to get yourself in the mind space of kind of the crown, or at least to kind of recognize situations where a bomb is about, or like is very likely to be called by the crown. So that kind of means that you need to have your buffs already kind of up and running, because when the crown calls for those, calls for proxies, you need to be able to respond to that instantly, because you need to sync your proxy up, preferably on the same GCD as the crown. Otherwise, one GCD after the crown is, maybe acceptable. If it's longer than that, then it doesn't matter. Like, any competent group will heal through or barrier through your damage if it's not arriving on the same, basically during the same second or the second after. So typically, since we have as wardens kind of like a two-step combo, like other classes it's a little bit easier. Like when crown calls for procs, you just hit your procs button. On a warden, you have to time those with, or you have to synchronize that with your shulk. So that means you actually have to cast your shulks first, then your procs second. And so this isn't necessarily by design, but simply a function of playing with Stratus. You need to be basically locked into the fact that a bomb is upcoming. You need to be ready to like respond to the call for procs. Stratus will say like procs in 1, 2, 3 procs. And so basically, like, if you cast your shulks when he first says procs, then the process of him saying 1, 2, 3 procs takes about another second. So you'll get that nice synced up damage combo. Your shulks will then be arriving at the same time as your proxy is, and that will be aligned with Stratus's proxy as well. You can see your character kind of like does this weird kind of combination of a dab and a T pose when they cast procs. So you'll see oftentimes when Stratus and I are in the same, in the same frame, that we'll both kind of do that weird dab T pose maneuver at the same time, and that's how you know that your procs are synced up. Obviously, if you run RDK procs tracker, then you can see the bar ticking down, but obviously I don't, so that's really the only kind of cue that you know that you're perfectly synced up. That said, most of the time Stratus is in my field of view when that happens, so I know in real time whether or not we're synced up or not. I guess backing up even more, right? So the reason why you cast your shulks before your proxy is because you shulks have a 9-second wind-up time, and proxy has an 8-second wind-up time. So obviously you cast the 9-second skill 1 second before the 8-second skill, then they both go off at 8-second mark. Easy peasy. You get your destro up and running at that same time, and then you get a lot of damage compressed into that moment when both of them go off at the same time. So we'll see Stratus, I can see the group up here and know that a bomb is upcoming and know that he's going to be calling for procs pretty soon. So we'll see how well I do synchronizing that.
Procs in 3 deep.
So this is kind of a faster call than he normally does, but you can see procs in 3, 2. My hand is raised. This is the shulks casting animation. Then I'm going to like put my hand to the ground, and then my next cast will be the T-pose.
1 proc.
Oh, yeah, there's the shulks. You can see right here, Stratus is in fact 1 second ahead of me because I've just cast my shulks. He just cast his proxy, so my proxy is going to come in at T+1 to when he is casting. Oh gosh. There, you can see I just cast my proxy. He's already, dark cloaking up, getting ready to bomb. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure I'd use a destro here, not a DB. So I should hit that pretty soon, like within the next second or so.
Straight ahead. Alts here. 3, 2, 1.
I just got.
So you can kind of see it here. Here's my shulks here, and there's my proxy timer. You can see that they're both going to go off at the same time in about 2 more seconds, because the game does like count 0 as a second, right? It's kind of a, Alright, so we see that bomb went okay. It wasn't like the fattest stack or anything.
Back up, back to the resource,
Mess around to get that second key AB.
Back to the resource.
I really wanted to hit that stack on the stairs. We didn't have any ults at that point, but I think that they were generally squishy enough that we probably could have wiped them.
Waiting here, procs in 3, 2, 1.
So that's the same.
Procs, waiting.
You can see that we both are kind of finishing that T-pose animation.
Up the left, stairs on the left, pushing in sec.
So I don't have an ult ready to roll here. Somebody could hit me with an Arcasis that would give me a DB, so I have to be mindful that that could happen. But otherwise, I'm just looking for synergy if there are any. Otherwise, I'm just looking to, keep enemies in front of me so that I hit them with my shulks and then spin to win.
T1 now, here, bottom.
So you can see mine is just about to go off. Stratus is going off currently. There goes mine.
Come through them, go through. West.
Here I think is, I don't know if this is Shogunate pulling up or if this is just the Imperium kind of super sussy ball group that we always wreck.
West.
But you can see
They're on our tail.
nice job getting out of the way. That's definitely the Imperium Zergers because they've got that dumb Watcher ult going.
Keep coming. Stack on our tail now. It's helping the back line. There's your burst. Big heals. Up.
So we've switched to the proxy style for maybe the last 2-3 months before we didn't play with that. It helps a lot. And also, as people are generally building tankier these days, it also has become like basically necessary to get kills on any group that has any semblance of organization. Like, yeah, you can kill random Zerglings, like zone players, with just spin to win. Like literally with just spin to win. And that's easy. And like, you'll see that probably later in the video when we're fighting against EP at the Scroll Temple. But against actual groups, even though I don't have like a particularly high regard for the Imperium, they are an organized group. They are, somewhat tanky. And so you do, generally speaking, need those proxies in order to get them down. And so with that in mind, like on attacks against groups that we don't have like proxy alignment beforehand, those are basically like, you're going to write those off basically ahead of time. as opportunities to deal damage. Like you're not gonna, unless you get like extremely lucky with your crits or something else weird happens, you're not gonna get any kills. So really, in those circumstances, don't waste a lot of your resources. You know, spamming spin to win or whatever. Like it's just gonna be wasted resources for you.
Up the hill, up, 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 up. Up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs come to the right side. Waiting by this tree. Waiting, 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 waiting. Keep going up, keep going up. Nice healing there. Proc.
Okay, so he's said procs. I'm not sure if he's casting his procs here or what, but if he is, I'm gonna be 1 second behind. There's my shulks.
2, 1. Procs.
Okay, no. So we actually, in this instance, I think I'm maybe like half a second ahead of him. But we both did that T-pose.
Be ready to attack and then jump down the hill. Pushing in now, left side.
So we got 2-2 on our counters. And that looks like it will be pretty good with where it looks like the stack is going to come. One of the main things that kind of as a group, I mean, this is probably true for any ball group, right? Is that you want to get your stack fear basically to coincide perfectly with when your proxies are going to go off. Like if you do that, it's basically like indefensible, like GG. If you've stacked like a large number of people where the proxy is going to scale up in damage, if you do that, there's basically no counter to that. If you're somebody who's unlucky enough to be stacked, basically like your only hope in that situation is not to be stacked in the first place, or that you have a really situationally aware healer or support or somebody, actually not even like a support, you need just somebody with a barrier who can, you know, be outside of the stack, outside of the fear, that can hit you with the barrier when they see that you're stacked. Absent that, you're cooked. So
5, 3, 2, 1 on.
You can see this is a nice example of that, though this stack is like not particularly great.
Left. And then down the hill, down the hill, down the hill, behind us, jump down.
Yeah, that instance it wasn't very good because the stack was only like 2 players or something, so the proxies didn't scale like worth a darn. If you catch like 5, 6, 7 in your stack, then that damage is crazy. If it crits against like 1 person, then you know you'll get kills. We also didn't drop ult on that, so our pen was bad, and obviously didn't have those extra ticking dots on them in the background.
On the rocks. Down, 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 down.
In that instance, it was obviously good that we didn't use ults, because it's always a real big feels bad, man, when you drop ults against a stack of 2 or 3.
Down, down. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Help back, help back, help back. Damage on our tail now.
So this is probably going to be an example of like when a stack comes too soon for the proxies and the subs.
Alts, 3, 2, 1. Now, now, now. Everything here, everything here.
Yeah, like you can see the stack and the fear. Like all these people are broken out of their fears and they're in the process of roll dodging by the time that.
Kill this, kill, 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 kill. Pushing north towards nickel, and then down, 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 down the hill, down the hill, down the hill. Down by the tree. Going down, 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 down the path. North, 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 north.
Oh, this is an example that I kind of wanted to point out from when I was watching this earlier. So I'm kind of at the tail of the group right here. I'm getting kind of focused. You know, I've been pulled around a lot and stunned and whatever. So I just got out of that, but my health is about 50%. Again, situational awareness. If you are at the tail and you have a low HP bar, every Zergling and their mother, brother, father, sister is going to be spamming like, you know, Mage's Wrath on you to get those like AFK kills, snipe spammers, crystal frag spammers, J beamers. Everybody is going to be trying to get you. So really you need to like roll dodge for your life. And so like y'all notice all this incoming damage coming in here that
big healing,
somebody casts a clutch barrier, but also that dodge roll dekes out a lot of those single target hits that otherwise would have hit me. I did get the barrier, so probably wouldn't have died in that situation had I not dodge rolled, but you don't always get that barrier. So it's best not to assume that you will. And so basically, no matter what role you are, it's obviously harder on a healer than it is on a DD, but always make that roll dodge. Anytime you get pulled, break free, roll dodge should be your very first thing that you do after that happens.
Follow the path, follow the road, follow the road. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs, help backline. Backline, backline, backline. Stacking on the tail defensively and keep going down the path. East, 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 east. Waiting, procs in 3, 2, 1.
So again, I'm going to be 1
Procs.
second behind Stratosphere in
For
terms of our procs timing.
In 4, 3, 2, 1. Now.
It's a decent
Big damage here, big damage.
decent
Down the
stack.
path, down the path, down the path, down the path, east, east, east. Nice one, really nice. Down east, tuck around this wall, waiting on this little corner, going back on the bodies, procs in 3, 2, 1, procs. On the bodies now. Stacking in 3, 2, 1, now.
So lots of people do this. We do this too frequently when we have people that are down. Like, why people stack bodies is like a mystery that no one will ever know. It's like the biggest flashing red sign saying like, please kill me now. Like when you have a bunch of people locked into a channel or just milling about around somebody who's doing that, like the person getting the res doesn't need your help. Like all these people are surrounded by their friendlies here. To get their reses, they just need like one person resing, but instead they create this like nice inviting stack for us to come back to. So yeah, this is for DG players, but it's now come to my attention that more people than just DG players tend to watch these videos. But yeah, if you stack a res, like you're just asking to get bombed again.
Get it. Beautiful.
And so yeah, those people got wrecked.
And down the hill again, down the hill again. Moving down, east, 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 east. Waiting on this corner again. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs up the hill.
1 second, I think behind the procs call. I've got
Back
my
on the
ultimate
bodies.
here.
Back on the bodies. 3, 2,
I think this is like a real tragedy stack.
1 now. Sorry,
Yeah.
far.
Glad I didn't drop ult there.
Let's go all the way up. Keep coming up. North, north, north. Up the hill, up the hill. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs.
The one thing that I will give to the IOT players is that stacking them, well, I don't know. Stacking like their ball group is kind of easy because they do a pretty good job at staying on crown. But when they're not like in their ball group, it's just kind of like their larger Zerg. They actually do a pretty good job of splitting a lot of times. And so like what looked like a really juicy stack running up this hill quickly materialized into basically a non-stack. So that was good on their behalf.
Reversing back down on the path. Backing 3, 2, 1 now.
Like the other factions, or yeah, like shots fired to EP, like they in particular are not good at splitting, and you'll get like just insane stacks with them.
Group this group.
My barrier.
Job, move to the flag. Go into
So you saw kind of there, right? Like the kind of unofficial rule that I will give to DDs is that like in a situation like that where you've hit your main stack and now you're kind of like have a couple more ticks of your Destro, you still have your Baylorg on, you can search out secondary and tertiary targets, but really 2 to 3 GCDs, which is to say 2 to 3 seconds, like that's it. No more than that. If you were not on crown, not on like the target selection of the crown for more than 2 or 3 seconds, then like you're doing it wrong. You'll see me do that in this video, I imagine. I don't want this to be like too terribly long, so I don't plan on watching the entire thing. So if I don't actually come back to one of those moments, then just know it happened. So it's something that as a DD you always are going to be like fighting against, right? Because everybody wants those kills, no matter how much you have to sweat somebody down. And so you just kind of have to have like the self-awareness of like, it's been 3 seconds, I haven't got this kill. I don't care like if maybe the next spin to win it might bring them down, you know. That's what I've been thinking for the past 2 GCDs, and it hasn't brought them down. So you just need to be like, whatever, not worth it. It's more worth to stay with the crown, stay with the heals, you know, and live to get a fatter bomb the next time.
flag, go into the flag. To the flag, go right to the flag.
And then here, I think the Imperium stack pulls up out of
Inside
nowhere.
the tower, in the tower, in the tower, in the tower. Bears, in the tower, in. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs.
There's the subs, there's the
Split line,
procs.
split line. Damage. Nowhere, just stay here, just stay here. Hold your barriers a little bit, build them and hold it. We're gonna go smooth with the barriers because they're gonna counter push us when we try to come back in.
Oh, we got a full group. Awesome.
Okay, here we go. Procs in 3, 2, 1.
Subs,
Procs. Pushing forward now.
I think I'm maybe
Go forward now.
a half second
Backing
ahead
straight
of
ahead in 2,
Stratus.
1 now.
That was another
Forward and
tragedy
left.
stack.
Forward and left. Forward and left. Keep coming east, 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 east. Further, further, further. Procs in 3,
can
2, 1.
see-
Keep going up, up.
I think that was Shogunate that was coming up the little wash over there. And they're gonna bomb us.
Up, up, up. East, east, east. Look in front. Far, far, far. Rapids, rapids. Run, run, run. Get up here, get up here. Procs
Rapids is
in
DC.
3, 2, 1. Procs. Pulse on our tail in 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, you can tell it's Shogunate because you have the folks lit up in the mech acuity proc, that translucent blue.
1 now. Everything we got here. Right here, right here, right here. Gotta get this. You keep going up east, 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 east. Get through it. Tuck around, tuck around, tuck around, tuck, tuck, tuck. Procs again. 3, 2, 1. Procs. Staying here, staying here. Damage right on us. And 3,
Uh-oh.
2, 1. Close, close, close.
It might have been my fault.
Yeah, so you can see we survived the first bomb by Shogunate plus Imperium plus their Zerg or whatever, but they were able to drop ult. Maybe they only ulted with like half their DDs the first time or something, so obviously like Turtle Master, well, who's that? Always. Oh, if you're watching, like the Luxor Night Fury, I always like really like those character names, and I like the fact that they all have Night Fury as the last name. And I always just like Turtle Master as an at name. It's like very wholesome and good. Not IO.
Shogunate and IoT.
Yeah, and Nelly's. There's 3. Procs. You ready?
Don't think it was actually Nelly's. I think it was just like a couple people from that guild who happened to have the tabard on. Though we've been noticing them a little bit more people wearing that tabard in Blackreach, but I don't know.
Ready to jump outside? Go ahead.
And Markinson, I saw you in that Nelly's trial farming Rock Grove yesterday.
Outside. Jump outside. 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 Go. 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 Let's keep going west.
They're jumping off.
Go west. Go west. Go west. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Moving into them now.
So yeah, we got the 5-5 on the timers.
Scroll
Backing
followed
3,
us.
2, 1. Now. Big stack.
So this is like obviously tactics that we haven't exactly mastered yet as a group, for various reasons. Kind of like the idea of the kind of like fake stack or like bait stack versus like legit stack. It's often confusing to me as a DD, and you know, this is also no doubt true when I lead raids. You know, circumstances can change so quickly, so like a stack that you had intended to just be like a fake stack without ultimates, you know, I think I bring it up later that it is just like a giant meme at this point, where like every time that Stratus calls like a fake stack, that will be the godlike stack that gets like 10 of 12, you know, Shogunate or whatever other group members, and then the stacks that are actually intended as like main ult dumps, that's when you get like 3 in a stack. And it happens like every single time. So anyway, but so kind of shading about that, like if there's a stack that you intend as just like a fake whatever stack, you know, you're going to hit him with some proxy damage, but like you're not too serious about it. You know, maybe at the last second you want to turn that into an ult dump stack, and you know, then you kind of, some DDs use their ults, some don't. Maybe you would get a sick group wipe if everybody used their ults, but since you don't have that clarity in the calls, then you know, you don't get that, and then suddenly people are like desynced in terms of like some people have their ultimate and some don't, and just, you know, causes difficulties for continuing it on in the fight. Like basically you have to just kind of like, somebody's gonna have to sit on like a 500 ultimate for like a while the other people regen their ultimates, and that's always a bad place to be. Similarly, you know, if you've done like 2 fake stacks in a row and like now you're kind of assessing that the next time could be an opportunity to drop your ult, and you say like very early in that process, and by early I mean like maybe 8 to 10 seconds before you intend to stack, you know, all right, ult push next time or something. Well, circumstances can be, and often are, completely different by the time that you get to that 8 to 10 seconds later. And so if people have turned on their destros because their last standing order was to drop ult, and then suddenly, you know, the group changes direction, starts running away from you, you can only stack like a tiny bit of them at the tail, then again that sucks because you've just dropped your ult and gotten like 2 kills or no kills or whatever to show for it. So that entire concept is kind of like probably still has value, but in practice it has turned out to be more difficult to apply than, you know, it sounds when you're just like discussing like, oh yeah, so we're gonna do like a fake push, then a real push, and keep them off balance, and it's like whatever, and you know. So life is tough out there, you know. I say this from like a non-crown perspective, but life is, you know, 10 times tougher as the crown, because you're taking responsibility not only for your own play, but then obviously like trying to coordinate the rest of the DDs as well. So a lot tougher job, and yeah, we'll just gotta keep working at it.
Big stack. Split now, split now, split now. Wide, 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 wide. Really wide, really wide. Wide, 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 wide. Scatter, 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 scatter. Break free roll, break free roll, break free roll. Procs and
So you can see, if anybody doesn't know, this is what the mech acuity proc looks like. I think they have like 4 DDs, or at least 4 people who use it. I think there's 3 in this particular frame.
3, 2, 1, procs. Help me, help me, help me. Yields.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is another thing I want to talk about, is as this is more of like a GVG, it's more apparent. Like Shogunate obviously uses Zols, right? I don't think that's a relatively recent change that they've been making, but in this, on this night, it worked very well for them. Basically, that monster set, in case anybody who's watching hasn't ever used it or doesn't know what it is, it's one of the IC monster sets. When you get stunned, then it auto breaks free. At least I think it auto breaks free. If it doesn't, when you break free, then you basically do like a big AoE fear. And you can see obviously how this would be very useful for a ball group countering a push, right? Like you get stunned, you break free, and then you mess up the incoming bomb on you by fearing those that are attacking you. It is useless if it's a push where people have used their pots and have immovability uptime, but you know, you only have 11 seconds out of every 45 seconds that immovability is active. So just playing the odds, you're more likely than not that you'll catch at least one, but potentially all of the attacking DDs in that stun and completely mess up their bomb, right? Because you stun them, and then that gives your healers a chance to get their barriers off, their burst heals off, people roll dodge out of the AoE, all that type of stuff. So you'll see that fear mess up a lot of bombs. And so I said at some point during this raid that they were using Zols, but subsequently I went back into the log to confirm that, and like, yeah, it was the Torbjorn dude who is rocking the Zols. And yeah, so if you notice in some of these stacks where like, you know, I'm about to DB or something and then suddenly get stunned, that's what's going on.
Get them, get them, get them. Splitting with that. Here we go. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Stay wide, stay wide, stay wide.
And so from like a DD POV, that really makes your kind of pot management a lot more important. And it definitely means that you shouldn't consume your pot on kind of like a fake push. But again, what's going to be a fake push, what's not going to be a fake push is not always obvious ahead of time. So like for me, you'll notice that a lot of times I'll be off my pot cooldown, or be on my pot cooldown when like the real call for a stack comes. And so then I'll get stunned even with like my Destro running, and it's real feels bad, man.
Stacking root. Deep 1 now.
That was a 6 stack.
Get this, get this, get this.
That wasn't a Zols, that was just I don't think that anybody in Shogunate is using the freaking Mages Guild rune. There would be like no point to use that. On the other hand, I didn't see an ice comet hit me for the knock-up either, so I don't know what that was, but it was unlucky.
Or res at the keep quickly. No, move east, move east, move east, move east. Move east, move east. Build alt, build alt, build alt.
So with these, it's like a big mag tax casting and, you know, constantly refreshing your procs, and it's more than that on a Warden. It's you have to refresh both your subs and your proxy each time that Stratus recycles it, so you got to get those heavy attacks in there.
Procs in 3, 2,
Subs,
1. Procs attacking,
proxy.
attacking now. Stacking alts here. 3.
See, like the decision, or like the call to drop ults, like comes late into that process. If I had had enough for a Destro, this would put me in a real awkward situation where like I'd have to go back to back bar, turn on the Destro, get back to front bar, then try to set up the positioning. Since I only have a DB available, it's easier because that's just on my front bar. But that is definitely like one of my banes when I'm playing DD, is like when you're not expecting to have to drop ult, your proxy is close to hitting, the call for an ult comes, and then you're in that situation of like, is going to my back bar, just turn on my ult, just gonna mess up the rest of my damage? If so, use DB or don't do that. Yeah.
Wide, wide, wide. Watch the Nova, watch the Nova. Damage on it, damage on it, damage on it.
So I think there just wasn't, like that stack wasn't good enough to waste my DB on.
Somewhere low. Splitting wide
I don't know
again,
what
split
Mongo
wide
and
again, move
Stratus
west,
did,
west,
if they
west, west.
use their ults or
Go
not.
here, go west, come together, procs in.
So I'm gonna be casting my subs
In
very
3,
soon. There's
2,
the subs.
1.
There's the
Procs.
proxy.
Keep moving west, west,
If you were looking closely, you could see Stratus and I both did the T-pose at the same
west,
time.
west. Waiting here, wait for Kirsch.
We're at 0, so we're gonna have to refresh these procs. This is not enough mag to refresh both of them, so I need a heavy attack.
Back down these rocks, down the rocks. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs
Subs,
attacking
proxy.
this time.
Again,
Turn
you can
into
see
them,
that
turn into
Stratus and
them.
I are synced.
South. Stacking on the south.
This was a god opportunity for a stack, but then they maneuver behind these rocks and then come back at us this way.
Then 3, 2. Oh, darn. Never mind. Careful. Split, 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 split. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Split wide around the rocks. Move into them now. Move into them now. Stacking 3, 2, 1. Now. Hit the back
Yeah, ults were dropped, but
line, back line here, back line here.
like they did a really good job at splitting here. You can see their healers get barriers off, and there's just
Now move off to the sides, off to the sides.
bad scaling for the
Off
proxies.
the sides. Scatter, scatter, scatter. Wide, wide, wide.
So it always really sucks when you drop ult and then this is what you have to show for it at the end. 30 ult.
Wide, wide, wide. Wide, they're pushing, they're pushing, they're pushing. Get out, get out, get out, get out. Everyone's right together. Split, split, split.
My
Break.
barrier.
Roll, roll, roll. Just keep rolling, keep rolling. You gotta just roll until their Destros are done. Here we go. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. We're going alt this time.
Yeah, what Stratus said was super true though. And like a ball group only has basically like 1 second when they're really dangerous, and then maybe a handful of seconds after that while their Destros are still ticking. Only really if you've sustained big damage though. If you're at full health and you've missed like the proxies and whatever else, like their synergy hits, you're basically in no danger whatsoever from a ball group. just roll dodge out of the way. Like, to get out of it, like your two objectives are to waste their time so that their destros turn off, and then also just to get out of the area, and roll dodging accomplishes both of those things.
Oh, blast it! They.
Stacking 3, 2, 1 right here on me, right on me. Get this. So they got to bury off. Split now. Hom aimed to do the negate on the, if I call alts, try to go your negate combo with that proxim 3.
So with that, generally when Stratus is in like a, so against a ball group, I'm generally going to be trying to look for a DB opportunity rather than a destro, because DB is just more burst damage, and if you align that with your subs and your proxy, it's hard to heal through that. However, he has a gap closer, I don't, and so the stack is going to be on him, not on me. So if you're in a situation where like you're behind him as a Warden DD, your opportunity to get to that stack, especially in time to DB, is super small, right? Because you're this far behind now, you're only going to get more behind by the time he gap closes. So basically, I always try to be in front of him and kind of like wait for him to make the stack in front of me. And that last one was just kind of awkward because he was like, usually we'll call out like stack on the left, stack on the right, and so that will inform like where I go and like where I'm expecting the stack to be. Instead, he was just like stack on me, and like while I could see where he was, it was just like not, I don't know, it was a weird stack, I would say.
3, 2, 1 prox. Split wide.
But I mean, that is what it is. Like, I've been the crown too and just been like, damage here or something like that, because it's, you know, it's, especially in this kind of open field situation, it's not always easy to call out like a landmark that matters or is relevant. So saying just like damage on me or something, it's about as descriptive as you can be in that situation. It just, from a DD's POV, isn't a lot of information to work with.
Circle them, stacking into them in 3, 2, 1.
What do we got here? 1 second. So ideally, these would be at 0 and would be going off like basically now.
Now.
I'm trying to see if there's any barriers that we can see here.
Split now. Prox in 3, 2, 1 prox. Circle them again, kind of circle them, stacking in 4, 3, 2, 1 now. Block. They're pushing. Barriers now. Prox in 3, 2, 1 prox.
And this is the, like, personally, I hate mechanical acuity. Like, yeah, it gives you dank crit, though it's like mega nerfed compared to how good it used to be. But like the fact that you gotta wait basically 30 seconds before your next attack as a DD, I hate that shit. So, but on the other side, when we see them with their acuity procs lit, you know, that basically means that we know they can't do anything for the next 30 or so seconds in terms of like being a threat to us. So, you could see that we kind of like did a good job at leading them around and splitting and basically wasting their time while their mech acuity procs ran out, their destros ran out.
Build alt. Stacking 2, 1. Alt. If you got it. Now. Get it.
Nice stack. Now we were negated.
Split now.
Yeah, let me see if I can go back there, because it was... I wanted to DB here.
Block. They're pushing.
Oh,
Barriers now. Prox in 3, 2, 1 prox. Build alt. Stacking 2, 1. Alt.
Yeah, like the call for ults comes so deep into this push. Like, we're at 0 here. If I were trying to roll destro, that would be straight up impossible. So DB is the only option here. But I think you can also see, if you look on my toolbar, my mag skills are grayed out. You can't cast shulks, you can't cast bird. So
Alt if you got it.
that indicates the presence of a hostile negate, which we can now see here. So rip to the DB, rip to
Now.
you know, being able to get those kills. You can see they're still both great out here.
Get it.
Shogunate has really good negators. They supposedly only run 2, but I remember in a log they definitely had 3. And yeah, their negators are always super on point, and we probably 80 to 90% of the time lose the negate war against them. And so I guess that's in some way credit to the rest of everybody being able to kind of like deal with that and still like, you know, get kills and get wipes on them, heal through their damage and whatnot, even while we're silenced. But like obviously in an ideal world, that would be like 50-50 in terms of who won the negate war, or in an even better world would be shaded in our favor. Now we were negated.
Split now. Off. Move west. Procs in.
So I've been sitting on this freaking 500 ultimate for a long time. I got Zold the first time I tried to drop it, then I got silenced the second time I tried to drop it. I'm like really fiending to drop it.
1 procs. Move north into them. Stacking 3, 2, 1 now.
Again, you notice that stun? Freaking
Split
Zols, man.
wide.
That Zols directly saved like 3 or 4 of them, because one of them was at about 20% health and probably would have been toast with a spin to win. And then the others were in like VD range, so they would have been toast from the chain reaction. But the stun prevents the spin to win, prevents the VD chain, equals they don't take any losses.
Procs in 3, 2, 1 procs. We gotta be quick on the proxy reattacks because they get their barriers back before, and they re-barrier on every attack we've got. Splitting wide. Procs in 3, 2, 1 procs. Break free roll.
Can see the Mecha Acuity procs.
Healers, make sure you're locating the stacking seats. 1 now.
Them.
Locating the pull. So if they pull somewhere and they all converge on a damage point, that's where you gotta focus your burst healing into. Procs in 3, 2, 1 procs. No ults yet. No ults. Just save up for 500. Backing
to which I'm like, dog, I've been sitting on 500 for 5 minutes now.
1 now. Middle. Split wide. Okay. Build alt. I've got a 500 stack here. Yeah, this one will be full alts. Try to get up on top.
That's the like, because Mecha Acuity, man, like, especially now that you can't backbar it anymore, like you deal that random tick of damage from like a light attack or something and it sets your proc off and you're like, great.
Procs in 3, 2, 1 procs. Moving close. Everything you got here in 4, 3.
Dropping ult. We got synchronized 2-2.
On the trees. 2.
1-1. 0-0. Mine's gonna be going off. There's not really a stack here though.
1. Nah. Come on, stack. Get it.
Especially trying to use Lotus Fan on uneven ground like this, impossible. So yeah, this is like not really an opportunity that ever really existed to get a stack. Just because of like
pressure them.
how awful that skill
Split now.
handles
Procs
differences in elevation.
2, 1 procs. Stacking again up by these trees. In 3.
Can see the Shogunate seems to have some kind of weird desynchronization with their DDs as well. Like you see one of them over these last couple of minutes with their Mecha Acuity activated, and I mean like they have good DDs, but it's hard for like one person to solo wipe.
1 now.
It's a meme because it's true that the ult stacks
Wide.
are always bad and the non-ult stacks are
I
always
know.
good. Yep.
So painful. Procs in 3, 2, 1 procs. Back at the top here. 3, 2, 1 now.
Zols.
Don't jump down. Careful. Swing to the right. Stay
Whoops.
on the right. Their proxies are.
This is like I well, you'll
Lit.
see. They're trying to bait
Procs
us into this
in
narrow canyon,
two,
and they do
one,
succeed in doing
procs.
that.
They're gonna push down this.
I was kind of unclear why they didn't just bull rush us here. Like, there was a opportunity for a stack that would have got, like, this front 6.
Choke, be careful. This is a good time to roll dodge through them. Stacking 2, 1, now.
Maybe they didn't have their mecha cuties off cooldown or whatever. Didn't
Playing
have
wide, 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 wide. Push them again, push them
you can see I'm over here because I'm still expecting them to bull rush through.
again. Be ready to roll dodge through them if they do push into us. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs. Push in, push in. No ults, no ults. Stacking, roll dodge through, roll through, roll
So here's their push. They just dropped their Nova here.
through, roll through, roll through. Roll through, break free roll, procs.
But that was like, we have like the feels bad man like poverty stacks, and that was kind of a feels bad man poverty stack for them. There were like 2 people back here, and then they roll
3,
dodge
2,
through
1,
just like
procs, get
Stratus
ready to
wanted them
counter.
to. But you can see all 4 of these dudes with their mecha acuity lit up, like they're going all in on this push.
Attack, split wide. Ults in this.
So knowing what happens here, like, maybe because this is like an all-in by them, they are really trying to sweat down the group,
Counter attack in 4,
and so they kind of overcommit.
3, 2 at the bottom, 1.
Stratus gets a nice stack here on what appears to be most of their DDs. I don't even, what do we have? 2-2 here, so that's not even that great synchronization. You can see though that my Destro's
Now,
lit.
now.
We got 1-1.
Now.
I think that was Stratus's proc going off. Mine are still yet to go off.
Get it.
There goes mine. And
Get it. There we go.
You know,
Nicely
we
done,
get
nicely done. Push them down towards the mine.
half-ish
Push
of their
down
group.
towards the mine.
Yeah, gotta keep me.
Back up on the bodies.
Okay.
Up on the bodies. Get the res. Nice. Down west.
So that was kind of it for that particular sequence. So now I'm going to skip forward to
South, go south.
different style of fight.
Keep coming.
So
Go south. Go south.
it's maybe
Go south.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That was much
granularity
better.
on my being able to seek here. After months of saying I really should just use VLC,
Really better movement and damage timing was. We were putting pressure on them for
But-
sure.
we'll switch to a Zerg fight.
They are pretty good at defensively negating and defensively barriering.
Stratus giving
Waiting.
good advice.
My barrier.
So this is a very fun, GVZ. It's always fun to fight EP recently because, let's face it, we all know that like their faction is just like a big snack right now. When Cardalin and company are on their side, then they have groups that you need to worry about. But if like TM or Meanest isn't running, then basically like meat's back on the menu, boys. Sorry.
Procs.
And that's certainly the case in this
not yet.
fight. This
In
is
here, procs in 3.
by like a long stretch like the grimiest farm that we've had against EP, including at this very scroll temple recently. But it is kind of indicative. Like, I would say that as a whole, our comp is more built to do this than it is really to prevail in the GVG.
T1, procs, pushing in.
And so this is like an activity that we can do very well.
Going inside. Stacking 3, 2.
So we got 1-1
One
on the
close here, close,
procs.
close. Push in.
Instant
Push in,
death,
push in.
even though that was like a non-stack.
But yeah, on the far side here. Alt on this side.
So this is just kind of like, a slaughter.
Coming south, go south. Kind of circling, south, out.
Destro's not even on anymore. Don't even have delayed burst up, but these people are literally just dying to spam
The door
walls.
south, out the door south. Out south.
Getting a little thirsty
Waiting
here.
here,
Need
procs
to
in
remember to chill.
T1, procs, waiting, reversing, back inside. Back in on the right.
So there's a pretty nice stack-ish opportunity arising
Back on the
over
right.
here.
3, 2, 1.
I think I get like stunned or something.
Now. A little early.
That's just like, you watch that again and like, I know they just buffed the DB cone, but like, come on, man. Like, that hit one or two people, despite there being
Get
like
it.
a pretty large number of people
Move the
directly in
scroll,
front of me.
cross the scroll, go across.
That'll always be the thing that holds back DB, is just like that cone and like where the server thinks that cone is versus what's shown on your screen. Not always the same thing. That's why Destro is always the safer option to use, because you know it's just on, targeting doesn't matter, just move yourself around and don't worry about it.
Straight across, straight across, straight across, straight across. Tom the gate on the scroll if you can. Go across, west, west, west. Out the door, procs in 3, 2, 1, procs, waiting. In and left, back in and left. Stacking left in 3.
Was a stack opportunity here, but it would have been pretty before our
2,
proxy timing.
Scroll, by the scroll.
Non-stack. You can see there's a lot on the
Back here,
far
back here,
side
back
here.
here.
This is
Back out, back out, back out. Northwest, northwest, northwest. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs. Stopping here, just stopping here. Pushing back in. Backing 3. Right side, 2, 1 on the right.
It's another non-stack, but you can see that they're clumping themselves up at the scroll.
Pushing,
So that proxy ends up actually doing
Circle, right on the scroll, right on the scroll, right
nice
on the
work.
scroll.
There's took the rune break synergy.
Hit the scroll, hit the scroll.
I think Stratus's proxy must have gone off right there or something, because he was
Stay-
the one who
stay
got
on
all
the
those
scroll, stay-
KBs, and he doesn't actually have any like on death proc
Stay
damage.
right on top of it. Damage here, damage here, damage here. Don't take it, don't take it.
As a vicious death wearer, that will always like trigger me.
Don't take. Back away, east, 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 east. Executioner barrier. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs. Waiting here. Reversing, back on the scroll, to the scroll, to the scroll. Stacking the
That I basically like. It is not something that like one should do, but I basically was like just in the zone killing people and like was pretty confident that I could continue doing that, and so Stratus called like a complete like back out and then pushing back in call, and I was just like tuned out
scroll.
of that.
2,
Almost pay the price here.
1 now.
Importantly, you'll see blocking through that. Otherwise, I would have died.
On the right side.
But that's kind of a cautionary tale of like, listen to the crown. Don't try to sweat down kills like I just did.
On the scroll, right side. Stay close, stay close. Circling the scroll, circling. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs.
There's certainly sometimes when doing that works out okay, but you know, if it doesn't and you die and then suddenly like we only run 3 DDs to begin with and now suddenly we're down to 2, then like you've definitely hurt the raid in a very tangible way by doing that.
Keep coming. Stacking 3, 2, 1 now.
It's a pretty nice stack. Get stunned mid
Pressure here,
DB,
pressure here. Onto the scroll, right on the scroll, right on the scroll. Whoa. Stay on the scroll, stay
which
on the
happens
scroll.
extremely frequently
everybody.
these days.
Move to the east, yawn bear. East.
Okay, my barrier.
East. Stay together. Backline. Waiting here.
Don't seem to have rapids at this particular
Procs.
moment.
Waiting. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs. Alt's back inside on the scroll. Pushing now. Stacking 3.
Oh, there's
2,
gonna be a dank stack, you can already tell.
1. Big damage.
Yeah. That's, you know, like all the DBs that you get stunned mid cast in, like those are the ones that make the DB worth it. Those guys would have died no matter what ult was cast or wasn't cast, but getting it with the DB kill into the vicious death combo just makes it nice and flashy, and also instant. Like you can see that like my subs and procs haven't even gone off. Like that was 100% just the DB. It crit against somebody and blew them up and blew everybody else up.
Beautiful.
There's my proxy that went off.
Beautiful. Quick res here. If we have a necro or save up a necro. Help on the res. Okay, go south. Slowly with the berry. Slowly. One at a time. Procs in 3, 2, 1, procs. Going back on the scroll. Pushing now.
Some of the like, well, I guess I'd highlight barcode. I don't really know the status of any of the other, for the most part, ball groups that are on PCNA. Like I just don't talk to a lot of folk who basically aren't in our guild or that don't interact directly with our guild on a regular basis. So I don't even know if like they're a group anymore. I don't think that they are. But when they were, and they were really good, that was basically like that kind of idealized DB combo right there, where it's just like one cast, you blow up the stack, you move on. That was basically like how they played. I think they had like whatever they ran, 4 or 5 stand-ins at that time, and that was just like what they did was just cruised around, had perfect synchronization between subs, proxy, DB, and like wouldn't even need huge stacks necessarily. Like they would just, if they were in a GVG or something, they would be perfectly content to just have 2 of their stand-ins DB on, 2 of your healers and just kind of chip your group down to size that way. And it was because while like DB is hard to cast versus like Destro and basically every other damage ult, they were just kind of masters at that and that combination. And so yeah, that that can be done. I remember Impact used to do that a lot, but this was like years ago. That DB heavy style with wardens.
Stacking on the scroll in 3, 2, 1 now. Big stack again.
There's another stun mid DB.
Get this. Beautiful. Come east, east, northeast, northeast, northeast. Executioner bear, Tom bear. Come through, come through, come through, come through, come through. Waiting here. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Back inside. Pushing in. Damage on the scroll. Alts on the scroll. 3, 2, 1. Right on scroll. Right on it. Right on it. Right on it. Bad negate.
My barrier.
Move west. Move west. Move west. Move west. Yawn.
You can see that person was extremely low HP, but they blocked my spin to win.
Bear. James.
And
Bear.
survived.
West. 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 Cast it.
Which is like anybody who doesn't block that much, like that's why you block. That's just a random pug, and they survived like a raid DD with their Baylorg active because they blocked.
Come out, come out, come out. Outside, outside. West, west, west. Waiting, reversing. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Inside now, inside now. Stacking 3. On scroll, 2, 1. Right side, right side. Or nothing.
Non-stack.
Oh, darn. That would be juicy stack.
What the?
Move east, 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 east. By Miro, by Miro. Nice, take it, take it. Go southeast, southeast, southeast. Out the door, out the door. Waiting here. Nice job, everybody. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Into the scroll. Straight in, straight in, straight in. Stacking on the scroll. 3, 2, fire. 1 now. So we're on the far side of the scroll. Beautiful.
That was Proxy doing the
Stacking
work
away
there.
southeast, southeast, southeast. Execution.
Like I say, Proxy scaled up by 6, 7, 8 targets in the radius will basically do all the heavy lifting for you. Like you can, at that point, your subs become like whatever. The chances that your Proxy will crit against some, PvE level character in terms of their max HP and then set them off is quite high. So there's some of these fights where we've really been wading deep into the Zerg, and it's like at that point you can like use Proxy as basically your only damage skill, and if you time your movement and your Proxy is right, like you could probably just get kills using only Proxy, but obviously you would never do that. But just to illustrate the scaling of Proxy and how godly it can be.
East, east, east. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs.
But here you can see like we're doing a pretty good job with group
For
movement.
ults on the scroll.
Everybody's kind of like knows that we're going in these pockets, reapplying buffs, proxying back up, going back out, hitting, coming back.
Push in now. Ults on the scroll in 4, 3, 2, 1 now. Ults on the scroll. Pick it up now. Pick it up now.
The EP folk are dying and not rezzing because they understand that
maybe we can't go through west, 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 west,
they
west.
can't really win this fight.
3 procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Damage back to the scroll, back to the scroll. On the scroll, on the scroll. Stacking again. 3, 2, 1 on the scroll. Left side. Go for pick up now. Pick up now.
We
Pick
do
up
some
now.
more dueling against Shogunate later on in this raid. Long story short is that we get this scroll, attack Shogunate on the way to bring it back, get kind of tunnel visioned trying to attack Shogunate, and then Shogunate kind of baits us, or probably not their intention, but Imperium does just kind of roll up on fights between us, insert themselves into it a lot of times, I think unwanted by either Shogunate or us. And so then, like, with the power of the faction stack, then we lose this scroll.
Mira bear, Yan bear. Okay, leave it. Go sell. Leave it. Procs in 3, 2, 1. Procs. Help backline.
Somebody's got it.
I
Damage
got
back
it.
on the scroll. Push back to the scroll. Stacking on the scroll here, close. Come to the scroll. Come through. We're still on offense here. Nice. Okay, let's go south. To the south.
Alright, so yeah, I think I'll leave that here. You can see we're only like a third of the way through this raid, but it is already like an hour-long video. I might come back and do some more of the Shogunate GVG fighting, because there was still some cool stuff in there, and some good opportunities to kind of unpack what's going on, but I don't want to make like a 3-hour-long video for the sake of everybody's sanity. So I thank you for watching this, if you've made it this far, and yeah, maybe look for the part 2 at some point pretty soon. Alright, see ya.